Real Virginia is proudly produced by the Virginia Farm Bureau Federation. Since 1926, Farm Bureau has been working to preserve Virginia farms and our rural heritage. Visit our website at vafb.com.
Home will always be Virginia, between the Blue Ridge and Chesapeake Bay, Atlantic to Appalachia, home in my heart always.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Real Virginia, a show about Virginia agriculture and the people who produce all of the wonderful products we enjoy, brought to you by the Virginia Farm Bureau. When you're shopping for gifts this season, consider supporting Virginia farmers and small businesses. Chef John Maxwell goes back to Virginia's colonial roots for this week's recipe, and one Virginia couple is working to bring back a historic and valuable crop, the chestnut. Welcome back, everyone. We're coming to you this week from Whitley's Peanut Factory in Glen Allen, Virginia. And the holidays are well upon us, and what better way to celebrate than with Virginia's finest products? As Norm Hyde reports, this premier food brand program continues to bear fruit for producers decades after it started.
What better place to promote Virginia's finest products than the State Fair of Virginia, home of the best of Virginia. Visitors to the 2018 State Fair had a chance to sample some of the wares offered by participants in the Virginia's Finest program.
We've been part of Virginia's Finest for about 4 years now, I would guess. Been coming to the State Fair maybe 3 years now. Every year it's a great experience for us, gets us great exposure. We always gain a wholesale customer or two and have a great time serving coffee out here.
Having the Virginia's Finest label has actually been everything for our business. It has helped us to serve our brownies in the governor's mansion. We have been places, we've been out to Hot Springs, Virginia. Having the label, when people see that Virginia's Finest label, they tend to go and reorder on our website.
Virginia's Finest has been great. People are always looking for local products, and we make everything from scratch every day, and we use as much as we can locally and then sell back to our public.
The Virginia's Finest logo has stood for top quality Virginia-produced and processed products since 1989. Snacks, nuts, cider and wine and other beverages, meats and produce are just some of the items sold with the Virginia's Finest blue checkmark logo. The program has continued to grow.
At the current time, we have a little more than 500 companies inside of the Virginia Finest program. Since the program's inception, these companies have really grown from having one particular product to companies now that have a variety of different products. Actually, their entire brand is all of Virginia Finest products.
Tommy Aquero of Louisa County is a small farmer who's benefited from the Virginia's Finest brand and the Virginia Grown logos. He now sells his award-winning salsa products in 55 stores in the Old Dominion.
I started out as just a small grower, and I entered in a couple of events, Hanover Tomato Festival and such. Started doing local farmers markets, and that progressed more and more over the years. We've belonged to the Virginia Finest trademark, of course, which they back us in all aspects. Education for consumers, marketing. We've done small events, large events. We work with the Farm Bureau and small organizations, FFA, 4-H, and so forth.
A Virginia's Finest brand license is issued only after a stringent review of quality standards conducted by the Virginia Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services. Good taste is vital, but only Virginia products that meet or exceed quality standards are eligible for the Virginia's Finest program.
Well, you can find a list of the businesses enrolled inside of the Virginia Finest program at shopvafinest.com. You will also find Virginia Finest products at local grocery stores or even specialty shops such as Whitley's Peanut Factory.
Whether they're in a farmer's market, specialty store, or your local grocery store, Virginia's Finest products are for everyone. Buying them is a great way to support Virginia farmers and the small businesses that support the state's largest industry, agriculture. In Caroline County, Virginia, I'm Norm Hyde. 30 years ago, a successful international businessman was searching for a new challenge. San Francisco native Robert Gompertz had built a $30 million exporting company selling fresh California lettuce and other products like fruits and nuts to European buyers. He left his business for Virginia to become director of the Virginia Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services Marketing Division. Under the orders of then Governor Gerald Baliles, Gompertz was tasked with boosting the sale of Virginia farm products. And that's how the Virginia's Finest brand marketing program began. A year later, Gompertz helped roll out an easily identifiable logo and quality standards program that has stood the test of time.
I'm Mark Viette. Coming up on In the Garden, I'm going to talk about what do you do with Japanese beetles. Stay with us.
Farm Bureau is the insurance provider of choice for farmers. But did you know all Virginians can benefit? In fact, most of our members are not farmers. Members may take advantage of discounts on selected autos, trucks, mowers, and tractors on top of the many insurance offerings. Your $40 membership will easily pay for itself with our many savings options as well. Farm Bureau is made for Virginians. To learn more about the membership advantage, go to vafb.com or visit your local Farm Bureau.
Our vacation in a Virginia state park was a wonderful idea. The lodge is beautiful and it has so much room. The park staff are super helpful, and the kids are having such a great time. We're learning all about Virginia's history, and Mark and I even have time for just the two of us. This has been a wonderful experience, and we've never felt so close as a family. We'd love for you to join us. Love, Virginia.
Japanese beetles can be a real pest for gardeners. Mark Viette has some suggestions on how to control these insects in the garden.
You know, some years are worse for Japanese beetles in some areas than others. You know, we find maybe 1 out of every 10 years is really bad, and then they slowly disappear and then they come back again. A couple things you can keep in mind to do to help reduce Japanese beetles. The one thing you have to remember is they attract each other. So once they're attracted to the garden, they give off a scent for all their friends to come to your garden. So even if you kill them in the garden and you have lots of dead Japanese beetles, they will keep attracting more Japanese beetles for maybe 2 or 3 weeks. I find that it's the second or third week in June that they become prevalent in the garden. One of the best ways to reduce Japanese beetles is to prevent them. And that means reduce their numbers in the beginning, not wait till they fill your garden. They only like 1 out of every 20 or 30 plants we grow. It just so happens that they love crepe myrtle, they love roses. These are some of our favorite plants. And if you look at this crepe myrtle in front of me, I'm just going to hit it. You can see all the Japanese beetles take off. And the longer they stay here, the more they attract their friends. In using chemicals, always follow the label directions. There's a couple chemicals here that you can use. You can use Bonneem by Bonide. You can even use Captain Jack's Dead Bug Brew by Bonide. And then Bayer makes dual action tree and shrub, which actually is absorbed into the plant. But the key is to prevent them from the beginning. Don't wait till they get to your garden, then say, oh my, look at all these beetles. And I have found I sometimes have to spray only once or twice. If I spray right before they come, and if I wait till they're there, I got to spray 4 or 5 times. The Japanese beetle adults lay their eggs the end of June, and in July, the eggs hatch out, and then the grubs feed on your lawn. And if you've had a dry season, what they do is they cut all the roots off your lawn, and then parts of your lawn in big patches turn brown. Japanese beetle traps will attract Japanese beetles 400 to 600 feet away. So if you have them in your garden, your neighbors are thanking you. I'm Mark Viette. Join me next time in the garden.
For more garden tips, go to inthegardenradio.com.
Apples, spinach, and cornpone. Chef John Maxwell introduces us to a classic Virginia recipe up next in the heart of the home.
And now, a sneak peek into a day in the life of a Virginia dairy cow. They get their day started. They have some lunch. Get some exercise. Spend time with their friends. And then end their day with dairy sweet dreams. Real dairy, real life, real delicious.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Buzzed, busted, and broke, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Cornpone is a classic colonial Virginia dish. Chef Maxwell brings it up to date with spinach and apples in the heart of the home.
Hi, and welcome to the Heart of the Home. I'm Chef John Maxwell, and we're here at Meadow Hall in Meadow Event Park in Doswell, Virginia, and we get to play with great Virginia food every week. Today we got something really special. We've got some very traditional foods. We've got cornpone that we're going to make, and we're going to saute off some spinach and apples to go on that. So it's going to be a real kind of crunchy, sweet, salty. It's just all got everything going on in the mouth that you could possibly want to have happen. So to get started with the cornpone, right, I've got a couple of cups of yellow cornmeal. You can use white cornmeal if you'd like, but I'm using the traditional style here. All right, so I'm going to add a little bit of salt to the cornmeal, all right? And then I'm going to start adding water, and a ratio of 1 to 3/4, right, to make this into a thick batter, like a pancake batter. All right. So I'm going to just stir that around. Starting to get thick. And a little more water. Yeah, this is going nice. And I'm going to get the pan kind of hot. All right. Let that heat for a minute or two. Okay, now this is just cornmeal, salt, and water. Pone means cake. It's an Algonquin term. Whoops. A little bit of olive oil. Any fat would work. Normally I would use lard, but that's not as popular now as it used to be. But this could be done even on a dry skillet. The Algonquins, the Mattaponi, Chickahominy, they would do this on a hot rock. So it really doesn't matter what pan you want to use. So we want to make sure that we've got a good brown on one side before we turn it over. I want this to sear on one side. And now I'm going to put the whole thing in the oven, since it started to hold together and I got a seal on it, to let it brown in the oven and kind of come together. Okay, the cornpone are about ready. They've been 10 minutes in a preheated 350-degree oven. And I'm getting ready now to do the apples, so that when the apples are done, I can go straight to the pone. So the apples, good Virginia apples, right, I'm going to just kind of slice them up. I can't do this ahead of time, as you know, because apples have a tendency to brown out. But it doesn't take much to do them. So those are ready. Let me turn on this burner. It's going to take a couple of seconds for that to get hot. I'm going to add some garlic. All right. Let that start to cook a little bit. All right, but it's popping up nice. So now I'm going to take these apples. Make one more cut, and in they go. Just want them sliced, but we don't want them too thick. We want them to cook fairly quickly. Now it's okay at this point if you want to, once the apples start to soften a little bit, it's okay if you want to add some apple cider or some wine or some liquid of some kind. I'm going to get some wilt out of the spinach, and I think that's going to be enough for my purposes. I don't want it too soggy when it goes on the pone, or you won't get the crust. So now let's throw some spinach in there. Turn this over a little bit. And this will wilt down pretty good, so we don't want to take our eyes off it too much. Okay, that's going. So I'm going to take this out, and I'm going to put 2 of these on this platter. These are nice, crispy, but not too brown. I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of salt and a little more pepper. This is fried spinach. And apples. I'm going to sprinkle it with a little bit of pine nuts, toast it off just for some crunch in there. And there we go. Fried apples and spinach on Cornpone. So join us next week on Heart of the Home, where we get to play with great Virginia food.
Recipes from the heart of the home can be found on the Virginia Farm Bureau website at vafb.com, as well as on Chef Maxwell's website at chefjohnmaxwell.com. Native Americans used ground corn or maize for thousands of years before European settlers arrived. Corn is native to the New World and was a cornerstone of native diets. Cornbread and cornbread muffins are still popular today in restaurants and home kitchens. These products generally include eggs in the batter. But if you were traveling light in the wilderness and possessed only a single pan and an open fire, Cornpone was a quick and easy way to enjoy cornbread with your meal. A similar colonial-era product is called Hoecakes or Johnny Cakes, and said to have been a favorite of George Washington.
You're going to need me. You're going to need us. All of us. You're going to need our help with your water, your air, your food. You're going to need our determination, our compassion. You're going to need the next generation of leaders to face the challenges the future will bring. And we promise we'll be there when you need us.
Before the chestnut blight killed them, millions of chestnut trees were in Virginia and the East Coast. Today, Dave Miller reports from a Virginia farm that's helping this classic and very valuable tree make a comeback.
Because of the loss of the chestnut trees a century ago, most Virginians today have no idea how delicious roasted chestnuts can be. For the past decade, David and Kim Bryant have been working to change that through their chestnut orchard. They have planted disease-resistant varieties of native chestnut trees and organized a small cooperative of growers to harvest and market the tasty tree nut.
The more research we did into the product, we found that it was a good fit for us. We liked a lot of things about it. We liked the taste of the product. We liked the fact that it is native to this area. We're not trying to do something kind of outside the box. And it's been a very fun learning process to reintroduce chestnuts as far as food product into Virginia. So that's kind of the background. 101, you need to taste them. They're not what you expect, and they're good.
The Bryants have planted about 1,600 chestnut trees and are now enjoying a full harvest. It takes a few years for the trees to mature, and there's a learning curve in dealing with pests like insects, deer, and bears that love to climb the trees to get to the nuts. Sometimes bears break off entire branches of young trees. But overall, raising chestnuts has been good for them.
The chestnut harvest comes at a time of the year that Dave and I both love, October, and the harvest is just it can be a wonderful time. You're out during the most beautiful weather in Virginia. It's a little bit cooler. Of course, then the leaves are changing, and it's just a great time to be outside, so we love that. For us, it's always been a family situation, and friends and folks that have come and worked with us part-time during the harvest. We love that part of it. We're kind of everybody's hands-on, and it's time to get together. For us, the harvest, some harvests will last, a day, a weekend. For us, harvest lasts about 6 weeks.
The Bryants use a harvester made for pecans to collect the fruit, but it also works well for chestnuts. They also have the other equipment needed to wash, process, pasteurize, cure, and package the nutritious, delicious nuts. They created a local cooperative of 6 growers that benefit from their centralized resources, so each grower doesn't have to buy or build duplicate facilities.
It's about like having an orchard. You're constantly in the trees, pruning in the wintertime. Spring, you're starting to get the orchard floor ready. At least for us, we try to mow at least once every week and a half. Because the chestnuts actually fall on the ground, and if you don't have the orchard floor prepared when it comes time to harvest, it's really difficult to get the nuts up, and then you have to do a lot of extra manual labor in order to get them up.
Formerly from Richmond, the Bryants moved here to grow chestnuts, but still have a few side businesses. David ran a software company and still keeps some of that business going. Kim works part-time in town, except during harvest when they both are full-time chestnut farmers. Marketing the chestnuts is done in every way possible, on the internet, through social media, and at farmers markets, as well as through bulk sales. The Bryants are eager to share the rich heritage of chestnuts with their customers.
I shouldn't disclose this closely held secret, but I will to you only. When you're going to score the chestnut before you roast it, and when you do that, you're actually allowing some of the steam when it's being roasted to escape and not kind of blow up in your roasting pan or whatnot. If you brine the chestnuts in salty water the night before you decide to roast them, they'll be a little salty. It's like boiled peanuts from that perspective. So don't repeat that to anyone, but I think you'll find that is a great little roasting technique. You can roast them on the grill, the fire pit, the oven. We just got a couple of them. The open fire, of course, we know the SOG. It's a little tough to do actually on the open fire. The grill works probably a little bit better, and that's what we use primarily.
Chestnuts used to be collected to sell in town, as well as for animal feed. Chestnut wood was popular for both furniture and home building purposes. Efforts continued to breed disease-resistant chestnut trees, and it's obvious the Bryants have found a favorable niche selling chestnuts. You can learn more about chestnut restoration efforts online at the State University of New York's website, esf.edu/chestnut. In Nelson County, Virginia, this is Dave Miller.
That's going to do it for this edition of Real Virginia. We are so glad you could join us to celebrate the bounty Virginia has to offer. Whether it's in your home, your garden, or your landscape, we're proud to say that this is Real Virginia. So for everyone from the Virginia Farm Bureau, thanks for watching. Make it a good week.
Home will always be between the Blue Ridge and Chesapeake Bay.